On today's video, I would like to raise an important topic of conversation, which is the dangers of being born in the era of information. If anything, what happened to a child who is born online? A lot of you watching this statistically were born in the 90s, and some of you were born in the early 2000s. I was born in the early 80s, and it's very likely that there will be a good chunk of you that are pretty much like me, or you have had similar experiences. It was still a generation where, when we were born, there were no social media platforms. There were no symptoms of the permanently online sickness or disease that appears to be so common these days with each and every single one of us. The problem is that for us to have time to grow into it and slowly immerse ourselves in this constantly online state of addiction, well, for most of us, this happened after our brains had completely developed, including our prefrontal cortex. But today's generation, no, they're born within it. And even before we submerge them into the waters of baptism, they're already submerged and engulfed within social media presence. And what kind of effect does that have into the mind of a growing child? We don't know. Why don't we know? Oh, well, because in order to make assessments, we need data. But in order to have data, we need to have test subjects. Well, we have plenty. Problem is, it is only after they have been thoroughly tested that we will really know what we're dealing with at a psychological and developmental level. We understand that children's brains are developing. Of course, they're still working on their critical thinking skills. Object permanence, really, if you consider how young some parents give them the freaking devices these days. However, emotional regulation and identity formation are probably two of the main aspects that we need to consider. Well, because as a species, we are not hardwired into having to deal with constant judgment by tens of thousands and sometimes even hundreds of thousands of individuals all at once. This is not what we have had to experience. We didn't experience it during the Paleolithic and the Mesolithic and the Neolithic. We only had to deal with your family and your tribes. We didn't experience this in the classical period, in the Iron Age, in the Bronze Age, in the medieval period, in the Renaissance. Given in the Industrial Revolution, our cities did become particularly crowded, but this is unprecedented. And once again, while we as adults have had time to adjust to it, step by step, we went from, I want to talk to my friend, I'm going to write a letter, something that I still kept doing all the way up to the 90s, if you think about it. Should totally bring it back. It was more human, wasn't it? Then we had a phone at home. So when you go out and you need to talk to someone, well, you might as well just pop by their homes, because I don't want to go all the way back home. Do you remember when someone would call and you would pick up the phone? I'm going to show you. I'm going to freaking show you. That's what I'm talking about. Do you remember when someone called and you're like, hello? Who is it? Because who the heck knows? And they're like, is Francesco home? No, he went to the barber, I guess, where I don't go. Oh, when is he coming back? In 30 minutes, maybe. Call back. What the heck do they know? Am I right? No, now you're constantly, permanently connected to the system that keeps feeding off of your time. And time is the most precious thing we have, because it's a limited resource and it's the most precious of all. And yet, we have expressions such as, oh, I was just killing time, just to pass the time. Well, don't pass it, just use it, do something you like, for crying out loud. We should change that one. It's not passing the time, it's not killing time, it's enjoying time. Enjoying time. We as adults have established our own self-concepts before being connected online. We're still addicted, make no mistake. The algorithms works absolutely perfectly against us. If at any point you thought you stood a chance, they keep us hooked, they keep us busy, they keep us distracted, they keep us fed mentally, they shape our thoughts, they fabricate our words in our heads. We know that. They push us towards what we want to buy, what we want to do. The media shapes our perception of events, which is why it's so important to double check and do your damn research. But children? One of the things that I think is most dangerous right now is what I am doing. I am an online personality. A small one, not particularly significant, yet I do have a following. Now, there are people that are a lot more important, special, successful, influential than me, but the problem is, I think there are a lot of children out there that would do anything to get to where I am. Anything being the core issue here. being constantly online and being constantly subjected to the influencers is constantly building up unreasonable expectations for the many that wish to enjoy the life of the few. I know I'm privileged for what I have. How many channels try and fail? And I myself have had ups and downs, my friends. But if every single person wants to be successful and then they fail, not necessarily because of them, maybe it's the algorithm. Maybe they're too young to know what they really want to do. But the weight is monstrous and clearly too much for their still growing shoulders. I personally am also one of those who is concerned when it comes to the constant dopamine release and jingling of keys that is connected particularly to short form content these days, specifically freaking TikTok. But then again, due to the success of TikTok, now everyone copies it. Instagram has got Reels, Facebook has got whatever the heck they call them, YouTube made the Shorts, because when something is monetarily successful, then it needs to be imitated, right? Doesn't matter if it may cause problems. At the end of the day, this is the society of the benefit of the few at the expenses of the many. And I do strongly believe that the attention span does suffer. That's not because necessarily there is data that can be assessed critically and empirically to demonstrate that there is indeed a loss of average attention span due to constant utilization of short form content. I guess that would be difficult to prove, but because the expectation of immediate gratification absolutely plays a role in the satisfaction and happiness of the growing individual. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth. But think about it. I mean, I used to play, when I was playing video games, just so you know who you're talking to, floppy disks, okay? Floppy disks. We'll put them in this case, Amiga 500, but whatever the heck, MS-DOS, whatever you like, Commodore 64, and then you had to wait because it took forever for it to freaking load. But believe it or not, this kind of trained our minds. We were patient. I was like, well, yeah, I gotta wait, so I'll just wait. Well, sometimes, given I'd do something else, maybe if I know that a game takes particularly long time, I will play with something else or go talk to someone and then come back. But other times, I remember even when I was a child, I would just sit down and patiently wait. Sometimes looking at the little bar loading, and sometimes looking at those crazy color screens that you would get on the Amiga that looked like a freaking psychedelic journey, I suppose. But we were patient. Delayed gratification. That's how it was. Today is the opposite. You want it now, you want it immediately, and you do not wait. Also, because the snappier, the faster the content is in its pace and rhythm, the more success the creator has. Therefore, having a strong push for creators to do that, to mimic it, so that they can be more profitable, make more money. And that creates a vortex and a loop. It's an infinite loop that keeps refreshing and wants more and more and more. And what we do now is that not only we have the quick jump cuts and fast pace and constantly changing the freaking camera and talk as fast as possible, no moments for thought, for self-reflection, nothing. Just do something, move something here, can you see this, can you see this, that's how it is. But then that was not enough, and people started to do all of that while in the background you've got freaking footage of Call of Duty. Because they just can't pay attention, even with all the jiggling of keys. I do believe that this has and will cause a certain level of social development disruption. That is because real-world social skills develop with face-to-face interaction. This is how it has always been for the entirety of the existence of our species, all the way up to yesterday. Is a couple of generations enough time for our children to learn how to properly navigate these new, rather complex group dynamics? When significant social interaction happens through screens, children may struggle with in-person communication, conflict resolution, and building deep friendship. They might also develop anxiety more often around offline social situations. And isn't that exactly what is happening? And another point that I would like to present is that of cyberbullying, of possible sleep deprivation and insomnia in connection to constant usage of screens. If that can be backed by a doctor, be great, since I'm a little outside of my area of expertise when it comes to that. So, You let me know in the comments. And cyberbullying is particularly strong when it comes to online interaction because of the veil of anonymity. You don't have that at school when you get bullied, and even though it does happen, there is always the possibility that they'll tell the teacher, or maybe the dad will come and have a chat with your dad. Well, good luck with that when it comes to online interaction. And once again, for those children that do have a certain degree of success, the numbers are insane. And as someone who's been exposed to all sorts of attacks online and hatred because of the words I've spoken, even as an adult, sometimes it really fucks with your mind. I cannot even fathom how that can influence the way our children think. All of that in connection to algorithm designed to maximize engagement, often pushing extremely intensive content. Our kids are guinea pigs. And unfortunately, it is the parents' fault. Because the children were born in this, they didn't ask for it. How young are your kids? I'm not saying remove all access to social media, but do monitor it. Protect them, because you don't know what it means to be them. And stop giving this freaking phone to 3-year-olds. I swear, get a color book. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much. Proudly presenting the pendant of the Noble One. Look at this beauty. Original custom design created by me in collaboration with Viking Jewelry. And it's my way to celebrate all of you, because as you know, I've been calling you Noble Ones for the last 12 years. Well, this is indeed the pendant of you, the Noble Ones, who are the Custos Veritatis, written here in Latin, and it means keeper of truth, because that's the only thing that matters. The truth, whether it offends them or not. So, available in both silver and bronze. I think my favorite is the bronze one, but they're both great. And this can be bought as a set, as we offer the original ring of the Noble One, available in silver, bronze, and gold, the bracelet of the Noble One, Silent Oath of Truth, and a more low-profile version of the ring for those who prefer something a little thinner, which we offer also in bronze, silver, 14-karat gold, and 18-karat gold. Use the code NOBLE1 for a 15% discount at checkout, and massive thanks to each and every single one of you, and thank you to my haters for supporting my work.